I'm Joe and welcome to the channel. In this micro lesson, I wanted to talk about a subject that, for me, was kind of baffling at first, and that's scale modes. Let's grab a guitar and we'll get started. Have you ever learned a concept and completely overcomplicated it? I certainly have, and that's been with modes, basically. Modes, for some odd reason, I've always overcomplicated. I mean, the idea is very simple, right? You play a scale, and you play that same scale but starting on a different scale degree, and now you're playing scale modes. And you know what, I think part of the problem is the way I was taught how to do this. It's like fingering exercises, like play C Ionian, play G Mixolydian, play A Aeolian, etc. and so forth. And I guess there was just no musical context to this. So I just decided to do something. What if I took this concept of playing the same scale, but starting on a different scale degree, aka modes, and played it over a chord progression? Wouldn't that be a novel idea, to put this in a musical context? And that's exactly what I did. So I put together a little basic track on my looper with a C chord, and then it's going to go to a G chord, then an A minor chord, and then an F chord. And the idea that I'm trying to do is teach myself to listen to how the different scale modes sound. And to make things more interesting, I'm just going to stay on one string. So let's start with C Ionian. G Mixolydian. Etc. and so forth. So I really like this looper, but for some odd reason the end breaks that they have just are a little obnoxious sometimes. Anyway, the concept is just really simple. It's just to play the modes when the chord happens. And this is teaching my ear to listen to the different intervals that are happening, and it's putting it in a musical context. And it helps me to put it on one string because I can see kind of the formula that makes up each of those modes. What do I mean by that? Well, if I had the C Ionian, I see C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. But more importantly, I see the whole steps and half steps that make up that scale. So that formula. So whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So I can clearly see that the major scale formula is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And if I do the same thing now with G Mixolydian, I can see G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, what's that formula look like? Well, G to A, whole step, B to C, half step, C to D, whole step, D to E, whole step, E to F, half step, and then F to G, whole step. So, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step. And I can go through the same exact process with all the other scales that I played. And this is just one basic chord progression. But the idea is to train my ear to stay in those modes when those chord changes happen. And this is going to give me the strongest target tones because it's going to fall within the starting and ending of the exact same scale or same notes of the scale that the chord happens to be on. So if I'm playing C, obviously if I stay on C, E, and G, which is part of, there's my E, G, playing and hitting those chord degrees are always going to be my strongest tones. So this is, again, just teaching me a little bit of a simple and easy way to play the scale modes over a chord progression. So now, let's give it another shot. I did there, instead of just playing up and down the scale, I tried to basically target the root, going to the 3rd, to the 5th of the chord, and then went to the G, did the same thing. There's the 3rd to the 5th, A minor, to the 3rd, to the 5th, etc. and so forth. So you don't have to play linearly or play up and down the scale so much, but just try to use that as your target tones for when you're creating a solo or even just coming up with a melody line. Well, that's another micro lesson down. I hope you found some value in this video, and if you did, would you do me a favor? I'm really trying to grow the channel. Would you help me out by subscribing down below, hitting the like button, and knock on the bell? Again, these things help me out, and I'm always so grateful for your support. As always, I wish you a fantastic day.